You believe that the Constitution's the best document in political history?
Greatest political document ever
There
written.
you go.
Thank you.
I want to know, how is it possible to believe that when it's based on racist principles? They describe indigenous peoples as merciless Indian savages, and they don't even recognize other people of color. I just want to know how you think it's possible to believe that's such a great document we're founded upon.
Thank you for the question. Where does it say that in the document?
What?
Where does it say what you said in the actual document?
I'm not entirely sure.
It
but
doesn't.
No.
Do you know what it does say? Provide for the general welfare of all people. What you said is nowhere in the founding documents at all. What you said is what some of the prejudices that was in the people of the founding fathers.
He argues that criticizing the Constitution based on the founding fathers' prejudices is a logical fallacy, emphasizing the importance of assessing the document's content, not its author's flaws.
Those poor kids whose idiot mothers normally, but sometimes fathers, are dragging them along to these events where the content is just not suitable for little kids.
I just don't get it, but as you see mothers in Kmart, Target buying their little kids G-strings. So the world has gone crazy. All I can think about is...
The woman recalls witnessing a woman purchasing a G-string for her 7-year-old child at Kmart, highlighting their disbelief at such products being sold for young children.
And I attended the New York City Pride because I really wanted to raise awareness about this worldwide assault that is occurring on our female sex-based rights, and it's happening in the name of gender identity. And I went to the Pride festivities to oppose state-enforced child indoctrination and really stand firm against this open culture of child sexualization and lesbian and bisexual female erasure that's being promoted by the organizers of New York City Pride.
The Pride events were also criticized for allegedly prioritizing gender identity over women's rights, claiming it undermines biological realities and traditional female spaces.
So you would agree that telling a boy that he's a girl is a lie?
No, but if that boy says that they're a girl, then I'm going to believe that child. The way that you and I see gender perception is totally different, because I understand
gender's not real.
Absolutely, gender's not fucking real, dude. So if somebody says that they believe that they
sex is real, though.
What?
Sex is real.
Sex is also a subjective perspective on how you want it.
So you don't believe in biology either?
I do believe in biology. I understand X and X. I understand. I've taken biology classes. I understand
so you should know.
How it works. When you look at different species of this planet, right? They come in all sorts of different sexual forms, right? Whether it's they're able to reproduce themselves, whether
that's not possible.
Yes, it is.
Where?
Frogs do that. They can change sexes.
Okay, I'm talking about humans.
Okay.
Frogs' ability to change sex is a natural adaptation, unlike humans who have fixed biological sexes determined at birth.
Victorian library staff have been told they should use gender-neutral greetings and always ask children about their preferred pronouns. Can you believe it? The Rainbow Libraries Toolkit, paid for, of course, by taxpayers, tells librarians it's important to recognise that a child's gender identity and sexuality can shift over time.
I'm actually appalled at that to start with. But look, the guidelines state that even if you are familiar with a child, teenager, parent or other individual, leave room for them to express a change in their identity. It goes on to say, checking in casually about their pronouns. Do you still prefer he, him? Do you still go by Sam, or is there something else you'd like me to use? Can let a young person in particular know that you are safe, accepting and flexible, and that by extension, so is the library.
Yeah, well, can I just say the library is no longer safe to take your children. I would never take my children to a Victorian library if that's their policy.
Never.
Keep your rainbow toolkit away from my kids.
Strong opposition is expressed to librarians discussing gender identity with children, viewing it as indoctrination and labeling such conversations as outrageous and inappropriate, considering them fringe theories not long ago.
Little Johnny, are you sure you're not in the wrong body? This was a fringe theory just a few years ago, and for now, Victorian librarians to say they should impose this on kids when they come into the library, I mean, it raises the question, where is safe for your children now, where they're not going to be to be foisted with this unscientific, illogical, reality-defying theory that if people want to live like that, that's fine. Do whatever makes you happy, God bless. But don't put that on kids and don't take those conversations away from parents who are the only people who should be having those conversations.
Well, this is the problem. Once again, it's being taken away from parents. We've seen this time and time again as well in the classrooms. From a number of issues, the parents have nothing to do with it. They're no longer involved. It's now up to the curriculum. It's up to the syllabus to decide what's best for your children. Now, I don't know about you, James, but when I was 5 years old, I was watching Bananas in Pyjamas and watching Play School. I certainly had no idea about gender identity, changing your gender pronouns, not that it ever existed back then. But that's when children were innocent. Every day was a new day and they weren't corrupted with this ridiculous indoctrination every day, and then they grow up confused. You know, I was interviewing a school principal late last year about why teachers are leaving the profession in droves, and he said that children these days are so complicated and have so many mental health issues than the past. Well, have a look at this. Have a look at this. This is the problem, because they have these mental health issues because they're so confused, James.
Introducing young children to complex concepts of gender identity and fluidity is seen as confusing and potentially inappropriate, especially when these topics are introduced by figures like librarians, who traditionally have not been involved in such personal discussions. Questioning a child's long-known name or gender can be perceived as overstepping and may lead to confusion about their identity, rather than fostering inclusivity or diversity.
I believe that women's spaces should be reserved for women, and that's a common sense approach. For example, we need to have women's sports that are reserved for women because of the biological differences that men and women have.
Pierre Poilievre said much of the legislation around spaces like bathrooms in Canada is provincially and municipally controlled.
Sal, this is just so astonishing that you can't run your own website choosing who you wish to be on it without having to spend $500,000 to defend that right because some people don't agree what a woman is. I mean, seriously, don't you think the whole thing's a bit nuts?
Sal, a female-only app founder, faces legal backlash for banning a transgender woman, arguing for biological women-only spaces and rights.
I think it's completely nuts. I think that the law is based on evidence, and there's just no evidence that men are women. I mean, you can try and destroy women's rights, you can try and destroy women's spaces, you can try and insist that men are women, but tomorrow morning men will still wake up men. The truth will still be the truth. Reality will still exist. There's nothing you can do to change that. This case is about sex. It's not about gender. I discriminated on the basis of sex. A woman is an adult human female, and that was accepted by everybody until men decided that they wanted to be women. And the only way for a female-only space to exist is if it excludes males. So we're going to be arguing that. And then also that CEDAW, which was created to protect women from all forms of discrimination, does not cite gender identity as an innate attribute of being a woman. I mean, women's rights are too important. The truth is too important. I mean, there is many times in our lives and in the day where sex is irrelevant. I mean, but when it is relevant, it's the thing that's the most relevant, and that could be who you're dating, who you're going to get married, pregnancy. I mean, who is going to play for the Wallabies or who you're going to enjoy watching playing for the Wallabies.
The speaker stresses that biological sex is crucial in relationships, marriage, pregnancy, and sports, impacting everyone regardless of gender identity.
Do you support age restrictions for puberty blockers and hormone therapies for trans kids?
I think that Justin Trudeau is trying to divide and distract Canadians by spreading disinformation about the decisions that premiers and parents are making.
What do you think? What do you think? I want to know your position.
What is your own party policy? It's your own party policy. At party convention.
I think we should protect the rights of parents to make their own decisions.
What does it mean?
With regards to their children. And I believe that adults should have the freedom to make any decision they want about their bodies.
But minors. How about children? Ban surgeries and medical interventions for minors, as your own party members suggested.
Medical interventions like what?
That is the language that your party
What medical
used.
Interventions?
Well, you would have to ask your party members.
What medical interventions?
Such as puberty blockers and hormone.
For minors?
Yeah. Yes.
Irreversible? You're talking about
I'd like to understand your position.
I don't want to be clear. I just want to be clear.
For minors.
Puberty blockers for minors?
Do you agree with that?
Do you agree with that?
I think that we should protect children and their ability to make adult decisions when they're adults.
So you
And that
think
would affect-
only adults?
Yes.
Only adults should make you said yes?
Children lack maturity for irreversible decisions. Adulthood ensures informed consent regarding puberty blockers and hormone therapies.